Hi YouTube, and welcome back to the next part of my Flower Class Corvette build. I've done a couple of things off camera, one of them being that on the funnel I have just smoothed off the seam line from joining the two halves together, which actually, like I said at the time, I think I said that I wouldn't need to do too much, and I didn't, to be quite honest. That went really well. The housing that the funnel sits on, I've just joined to the mast housing as well. The other thing I've done is I've just put some low-lying deck furniture onto the bow plate here, of the forecastle. And these are just basically items that when I come to glue the bow plate onto the front of the ship, there's some slight gapping. I'll show you what I mean. So when you place the front deck onto the ship, it doesn't sit well, which means that I'm going to have to glue it in stages to ensure that I can get rid of these holes, these gaps here. Forcing it just makes it pop out around the sides. So some of this has been some of the detail I have added on. Other details will be pre-made, ready to go straight on once it's in place. So that's where I am with that. The other thing that I did was I grabbed the bandstand for the main armament, and on the front of the bandstand here is a seam line which you need to get rid of, and that was just scraped away. However, underneath you can see you've got 4 locating lugs there, and that's supposed to fit the stand, which you glue to the base and then glue to the deck. And what I found is that this doesn't sit properly. It's slightly I don't know if it's misshapen or if it's just not been engineered correctly. So what I'm probably going to do is I might glue this part to the deck prior to gluing the bandstand then to the top of this. Do it that way round instead of gluing this to the bandstand. And I will probably remove these 4 locators just so it makes it easier to go on. The other thing that I've done is I have just assembled the housing for Bluebell's radar. This is the radar for Saucy and Snowberry, and this is for Bluebell. I still haven't yet decided which way I'm going to go, but if I do go with Snowberry, then what I'm going to have to do is divide these windows here in 2 like that, because on photographs that I've seen of HMCS Snowberry, the radar housing has much narrower window panes. So I will need to just get some plastic hard rod and put them in to replicate that effect. The other thing as well is the deck, the plate that the radar housing sits on, which then goes on top of a boxed structure on the bridge, back of the bridge. in photographs I've seen, it's a pierced steel plate walkway, so the holes through the actual plating. Now this has just got a light tread plate pattern on it. So what I'm actually thinking of doing is getting myself maybe a 0.5mm drill bit, pin vise drill bit, and it's going to take some time, but then going round all the holes that are on this and making an individual hole, just to make it a little bit more realistic and true to the original vessels. But that's something which I'll need to do. I'll need to order myself a new drill bit for that. I'm hoping that it's either going to be 0.5 or maybe even a 0.25 drill bit, just to get that effect. We'll wait and see. So what I was going to do was I was just going to quickly assemble the side walkways onto the wheelhouse for you, so you can see this go together. It's not going to impact onto me wanting to put a door in later. I will still have access, and certainly it's not going to impact in putting a floor on the inside either. I will still be able to do that without any issues. I'm having trouble trying to locate photographs of the inside of the wheelhouse on Flower Class Corvettes. The only inside I have seen is HMCS Sackville, which is literally has the back of the wheelhouse is divided into a radio room. So I'm going to keep trawling. There are some books out there on Flower Class Corvettes which I will try and acquire, and hopefully they will give me a bit more of an insight into these particular items. So as per usual, I've got all the parts out, trimmed them off, done any relevant sanding, and it says that we start off with this piece at the rear. So that's what I'm going to do. And then what I'm going to do is the side pieces, so that I can get them into position and ensure that the rear walkway is lined up properly. So these will only go one way round, and you need to ensure that the tread on the board detail is uppermost. And that should slide into there. That's better. So excellent. And then there's a small walkway here. And then on here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a slight angle, and this should be, from what I can tell on the instructions, this needs to be at the bottom. So this needs to be this way down, so that the angled piece sits on the bottom. Like so. And then that is in position. So the next parts are these two sidings, and they go like thus. And what should happen is that once they're in position, these end plates go on. Now, they're listed as being the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to place these on first, because it says to put these on afterwards, but I don't want to do that. I'd rather have these in place so that they support the side walls. And you'll notice that the fixes, the fixings here, there's a wider gap at the top than there is at the bottom. It doesn't really show you which way round they go, but whatever way you do put them, make sure that you get them the same on each side. And then what I'm going to do this side first. And that just gives me more of an upright position . Gluing these side walls in place. So that's the wheelhouse as it stands with the sidewalks on. When you come to do the bridge will sit on there, and it will basically sit on like thus. And this goes up to the back on it like so. So that was just another little bit. I've been looking at a company called Great Little Ships that do the aftermarket accessories for the Flower Class Corvettes, and I've been looking at the Oilerkin cannons and the 4-inch gun, and the pom-pom anti-aircraft gun is what I will probably go for. The rest of the bits and pieces I'm reasonably happy with from the kit. Because a lot of it is photo etch parts, it's just a little bit beyond my skills with regards to certainly soldering, which would be required if I was to go all the way and get all the photo etch parts that I could get to upgrade this kit. So I will leave it there, and hopefully you'll join me again sometime soon. All right, bye bye.